If you're someone who is considering purchasing the new Sony FX30 and you're unsure about whether or not to get the body only or to get the version that includes the top handle kit, this video is going to be for you. I'm going to break down what the top handle does and kind of what it opens up and whether or not I think it's worth the extra $400 to buy the kit. Just for some helpful context, my name is Riley and I'm a documentary filmmaker based in Seattle, Washington. And I'm often finding myself filming in places where having a smaller camera package opens up more shots and opportunities and also creates a lot less stress than if I was filming on a larger camera package. So something like the FX30 makes a ton of sense for me as a B camera to my A7S Mark III. And I've loved both of these cameras, and frankly, I think they produced just as good, if not better, images than some of the bigger camera packages out there. All right, let's dive in. As you're probably aware, there are two versions of the FX30. There's the body-only version, and this one is about $1,800 US. It obviously doesn't come with the top handle. And then there's the version that does come with the top handle, and it's $2,200 US at the time of making this video. And so you are paying about $400 if you buy the kit together. And right now, Sony is set to start selling the top handle separately, which is great because if you've purchased just the body only or you want to kind of space out the purchases, now we have the ability to do that. But the top handle is $600 when you purchase it separately. And this is right in line with some of the other hot shoe mounted XLR accessories like the K3M module that Sony sells. So I think it's priced about right and pretty fairly for what you're getting, but you do save $200 if you buy the kit together. Now, whether or not you want to purchase the top handle, I think is entirely up to you and all comes down to your style of shooting and whether you mostly vlog and aren't ever going to use XLR microphones or whether you're someone who does feel like you need XLR mics. Now, the top handle does open up some nice features. It is a hot shoe enabled mic, and so there's this little connector piece on the bottom and it just slots right in on the camera body. You screw these things down and you are ready to go. And what's nice about this is that there's no cables that are hanging off of the camera and have to plug into the side. All of the connection happens right here at the top of the camera body. And so it's going to mean that your rig stays cleaner if you are using microphones because it'll just plug right into the XLR inputs. And then you have another third input that is a stereo input. And so you could use a splitter and get up to 4 mics on this little camera, which I think is pretty impressive. The other thing to consider is that the preamps on this guy are much nicer and cleaner than the preamps on the internal recording of the camera. So if you're someone who is doing like a YouTube setup like I am, and you're running a shotgun mic up here and you have an XLR straight into the camera, that is going to be a lot cleaner of a recording with less noise than if you were to kind of put a camera or put a microphone on top of the camera and just plug in the little stereo input on the side of the camera. And even if you could get that microphone closer and plug it into the stereo input, the XLR inputs are just going to have a nicer, cleaner preamp for better sounding audio. The other thing that I really like about this top handle is that it is somewhat universal to the newer generation Sony cameras. And so it does work with the FX3 and the FX30, but a lot of people don't know that it actually works really well with the A7S III and the A7 IV. And so if you already own one of those cameras and that's sort of your A camera and the FX30 is your B camera or your second camera, you can actually take this top handle and swap it back and forth between those camera bodies. Now, you do need a specific cage with a specific adapter plate from SmallRig, but if you attach these to your A7S III or your A7 IV, it's going to actually allow you to slot this right in on the hot shoe and then use the quarter 20 bolts there to make it a secure connection. And what's really nice is you can get access to all of the nice features, the 4 channels of audio, the professional controls that come on the side of this thing, and it really does kind of, for me at least, open up a nice wide range of options. Because if I'm on a shoot and I'm using my A7S III because of the better low light or the better higher frame rates, but I still want some of the audio options, I can actually put that cage on, put the adapter plate on, and then pop this thing right on top and have a pretty nice setup with my A7S III. So I do think that there is value to this top handle just beyond the FX30, which I think is really nice. One other thing that I really like about this top handle is that it is kind of modular and opens up some extra mounting options. Now, a lot of people, including myself, feel like the top handle is just slightly too short, and so what I did was I bought this little extension unit from Small Rig, and then I also added a NATO rail on the top of the top handle and then on the side of the top handle. And what's nice is this NATO rail has some quarter 20s built into it, and so it just allows me to have more options to attach cold shoes, to put like a lav pack, or to have like a friction arm that can just slide on and off one of these 2 NATO rails, and I can hang my monitor off to the side. And the nice thing is that there are still some available quarter 20 mounting points on the sides of the camera, and then as well as this other one on the top of the camera body. So you do take up the 2 main quarter 20s on the very top of the camera, but the ones on the side are still available. And then I feel like you have some good options to be able to add some either rails or cold shoes or different things, and just have a little bit more real estate on this tiny little camera package to be able to rig it up to kind of meet the needs of whatever shoot that you have going on. Whether or not you want to spend the extra $400 to $600 and pick up this top handle, I think really depends on your shooting style and how often you use XLR microphones. If you don't own one or don't plan on using it very often, then I don't think you need this top handle. There are definitely cheaper top handles out there on the market that probably would suit your needs better. But if you're someone that uses XLR mics, use shotguns a lot, then I think having this top handle is really going to be a nice addition to the FX30, because not only is it going to open up a lot of professional audio features, but it's also going to open up a lot of professional audio features on some of the other Sony mirrorless cameras as well. I'll be sure to leave links to everything in the description below, so feel free to check that out. And as well, I'm going to be releasing more videos about the FX30 in the near future, so feel free to subscribe and follow along. All right, thanks so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.